Hello, this is Cognition Intelligence Section C lecture. Our prioritized standard is going to be 8C. Objectively, we're going to analyze the processes involved in problem solving. An important aspect of cognition is problem solving, which occurs when a goal must be achieved by thinking and behaving in certain ways. Problem solving is accomplished through various decision-making strategies, which involve identifying, evaluating, and choosing between alternatives. Sometimes this is referred to as problem-solving strategies. Now, when one attempts to solve a problem through trial and error, one continues to try different solutions until the problem is solved. So like if your cell phone is not working properly, you might try out different solutions until you find one that actually fixes the problem. So if at first you don't succeed, try again, is basically what we mean by trial and error. When one solves a problem through an insight, there is a sudden perception of a solution to a problem. So with an insight, a problem may be recognized as being similar to another previously solved problem, which results, or rather allows them to have an easier solution, like having an aha moment. When one solves a problem using an algorithm, one solves a problem by following a step-by-step problem-solving formula. Now, an algorithm always results in a correct solution if one exists to be found. So this is like following the steps of a mathematical formula in order to solve a problem. That is a type of algorithm. Now, when one solves a problem using a heuristic, one uses mental shortcuts to solve problems and make judgments more quickly and efficiently based on prior experiences, like making an educated guess using your own experiences to narrow down the possible solutions, often considered rule of thumb strategies. A heuristic is a general problem-solving framework that is intended to save the person time and energy when making a decision. Yet, just because it saves time and energy does not mean that it is always the best method for making a rational decision. So working backwards is a useful heuristic where you begin solving a problem by focusing on the end result. So like you have an appointment at a particular time, so you have to try to determine what time you should leave in order to make it on time based on your previous experiences with going to that particular location or somewhere around there. Another useful heuristic is the practice of accomplishing a large goal or task by breaking it into a series of smaller steps. So this is like if you have a large research project, it's going to be much easier to tackle if you can divide it up into various parts that need to be accomplished. Then it'll seem less overwhelming. Now, there are various types of heuristics, like availability heuristics, representative heuristics, and affect heuristics. Availability heuristic involves making decisions based upon how easy it is to bring something to mind. So if you've seen things about shark attacks on TV, and then you're at a beach and you see a shark, it's going to be very easy for you to be like, maybe don't go in the water. A representative heuristic involves making a decision by comparing the present situation to the most representative mental prototype. Affect heuristic, this involves making choices that are influenced by the emotions that an individual is experiencing at the moment. So if you're feeling more upbeat, you might be more inclined to tackle a difficult situation one way than if you were in a bad mood, as for instance. Now, in spite of the ways in which people attempt to solve problems, not all problems are successfully solved or potentially even capable of solving. So that brings us to a concept called a mental set, which is the tendency for people to persist in using problem-solving patterns that have worked for them in the past. So one type of thing we see with mental set is functional fixedness, which is a type of mental set where a person cannot perceive an object being used for something other than what it was designed. So the inability to overcome a mental set can make it difficult to come up with solutions and can impede the problem-solving process. So, for instance, when there was an explosion on Apollo 13, NASA engineers had to overcome functional fixedness to determine how to create a carbon dioxide filter with materials that were on the Apollo 13. Uh, so, using devices that were not originally intended for that purpose. Now, sometimes the ability to solve problems is impeded by different types of biases, like anchoring, confirmation, hindsight, and representative biases. Anchoring bias, this is the tendency to focus on one particular piece of information when making a decision or solving a problem, which can cause you to potentially ignore other information that might be important or useful in making your decision. So, like sometimes people get excited in the idea of, oh, there's a sale, and not even really considering, well, how much is it? Is it worth getting? Is it a good price for this item? Because they get seduced by the idea of a sale. A confirmation bias. This is the tendency to search for evidence that fits one's beliefs while ignoring any contradictory evidence. So, like when people seek out evidence that just supports what they already agree with to begin with. And also, we can have a hindsight bias, which is the belief that an event just experienced was predictable even when it was not. So, the expression, everybody's got hindsight's always 20/20. That's kind of what this is. You can also have representative bias, which is an unintentional stereotyping of someone or something. So potentially some people think that people with glasses are more clever than those that don't wear glasses. That's not based on evidence. Now, creativity is the ability to create, generate, or discover new ideas, solutions, and possibilities. The use of creativity can help one go beyond convergent thinking to engage in divergent thinking. Now, convergent thinking is thinking where a problem is seen as having only one answer, with all lines of thinking leading to or converging on that single answer. So they use previous knowledge and logic to arrive on that ideal solution. As where divergent thinking is thinking where an individual arrives at multiple unique solutions to a given problem, often described as thinking outside the box. Now, very creative people often have intense knowledge about a subject, have worked on it for years, look at novel solutions, seek out the advice and help of other experts, and take risk. So, creativity is often associated with the arts, yet creativity is common across several disciplines. All right, that concludes Cognition and Intelligence, Section C lecture. Our prioritized standard was 8C, and objectively now you can analyze the processes involved in problem solving.